This is going to be a no mistakes run, so listen to this right now. Luna cantered into the kitchen and quickly coming face to face with two very concerned looking Pegasi. You two had best sort this mess out very soon, the princess warned. I mean, what kind of assistants are you? You didn't even notice when some pony switched out the cupcakes for that trash. No pony touched the cupcakes, Ditsy insisted. The bad ingredients must have been magically placed there. Impossible, Luna declared. No pony can simply alter the structure of food like that. It's simply not in the realm of unicorn ability. Now, I don't care what you have to do. Take care of this threat before the party is ruined, or so help me. Luna didn't finish her sentence. She just turned in a huff and marched back outside. The party was beginning to lose what little energy it had left. Rarity still looked mopey, Fluttershy was barely able to stand, and Pinkie Pie was gagging and clutching a paper bag in case she didn't overcome the nausea. The princess sighed and racked her brain for a way to liven things up. I messed up. That's 109. Best record ever. Why don't we move on and play some games, she asked. Maybe it'll take every pony's mind off of all these accidents. That sounds like a good idea. You know, it's occurred to me that I think after this would happen, I'd be kind of scared. I'd be kind of blaming Luna. Kind of. Just a smidge. Applejack and Rainbow Dash nodded. After much coaxing, Rarity convinced Fluttershy to pick herself up and join it. Pinkie, not wanting to be a party pooper, hobbled over as well. Some pony had set up Pin the Tail on the pony poster. It was a fairly generic pastime, to be sure, but at this point Luna was looking for something distracting and mind-numbing to alleviate the lingering hard feelings. Glow, however, had other plans. Listen closely, Screwball, she whispered. I have a good plan to mess this one up. She whispered her idea to the pinkish pony, who simply nodded. The two mischief makers waited until it was the princess's turn. You know, I got a good one. I would make the poster like a voodoo doll, and then when someone got poked, they would get poked in real life. Gingerly, Luna stepped forward, trying to find the spot to place the fake tail despite the blindfold she wore. But suddenly a few blocks of stone in the floor, manipulated from afar by Screwball, caused the princess to lose her balance and stagger sideways toward the watching friends. Applejack ducked just in time as Luna swung her head in an attempt to keep her balance. The Earth Pony avoided any injury, but her hat wasn't so lucky. Oh no! Her accessory! Applejack's favorite accessory. Wow. Really? What are the odds I would choose accessory? Wound up skewered on Luna's horn as the princess finally failed to maintain her balance and fell over. What happened? She asked bluntly, removing the blindfold. Consarn it, Applejack cursed. You darn near killed me, princess, and look what you did to my hat. Luna glanced up at Applejack's signature headgear, torn and dangling pathetically from her horn. I'm so sorry, Applejack, she apologized. I don't know what happened. I just lost my balance. Let's not get overworked by this little accident, Twilight implored. Every pony's fine, and Applejack has more hats at home, don't you, AJ? Yeah, I guess, Applejack said. She sat down grumpily. This was my favorite, though. Perhaps we should do something else, said Luna. Would any pony like to try break the piñata? Oh, me! Pinkie Pie jumped up excitedly, but the action did not sit well with her stomach, and she quickly sat back down, looking queasy. Or not. Let me try, Rainbow Dash declared. I'll wreck anything in 10 seconds flat. Rainbow Dash was led to the dangling piñata and blindfolded. The Pegasus hovered in the air, swinging a bat forcefully at the colorful, treat-filled paper craft. They were made by the Mexicolians. We haven't done a thing to the prone. Oh man, I do not know what that was. That was just my tongue, just not cooperating with my brain. We haven't done a thing to that pony yet, Glow observed. Go ahead, Screwball. You pick what kind of chaos we use this time. I was gonna say Rainbow Raft. Curse you, dyslexia! Rainbow laughed as she whizzed through the air, missing the piñata by inches again and again. Finally, she floated right in front of her target. I've got you now. Rainbow wound up and took a mighty swing, the bat connecting dead center with the piñata. Clang. To every pony's surprise, the piñata burst open and deposited an anvil right on top of poor Rainbow Dash, who plummeted to the ground under its weight. Glow couldn't take it anymore. She buried her face into her hood, trying to stifle a fit of laughter. Rainbow Dash's friends immediately rushed over to lift the heavy object off of her friend. Luckily, Rainbow was able to stand, but she definitely looked like she was in pain. "What's the big idea, Princess?" Rainbow growled. "What kind of wacko puts an anvil in a piñata?" Luna looked more dumbfounded than anything else. I didn't. It was full of candy before, I swear." "Yeah, sure," Rainbow said sarcastically. "I'm all for good pranks, Princess, but that was just taking it a bit far, don't you think?" To illustrate her point, Rainbow winced as she tried to take a step. "Sweet Celestia, this is gonna hurt in the morning." The guests were all beginning to look at Luna rather uncomfortably. Applejack and Rainbow Dash, quicker to accuse than the rest, just looked outright angry. The princess bit her lip in frustration. She was on very thin ice now. If anything else went wrong, she was certain the other ponies would turn on her, and everything would be ruined. "Where is this blasted party crasher?" Luna thought, "and why can't my hired help stop her?" "I don't know, Princess. I think you should ask them." Watt screeched to a halt, skidding several feet onto the cobblestone streets of downtown Canterlot. Cloudcover caught up a moment later, with Dinky trailing behind, panting as she tried to keep up. Finally, the three of them had reached their destination. At the end of the street sat the grand entrance to Canterlot Castle, gleaming in the moonlight. "Whoa," Ditzy breathed. "This place is huge." That food is not sitting well with me right now. I feel terrible. "What did you expect?" Watt said. "Can't you see it from Ponyville?" "Come on," Cloudcover urged. "We're behind schedule. Let's get up there." The two stallions dashed ahead, and Dinky, eager to see what kind of situation was unfolding, followed as quickly as her little legs could take her. "Oh, that's so adorable. I could just imagine that. It's a little skittering." Upon arriving at the castle, a guard directed them to the back entrance of the kitchen behind the ballroom, and they stepped inside, immediately catching sight of the disguised Ditzy and Breeze, who were still watching the unfolding scene outside of the window the kitchen doors. "Did some pony call for backup?" Watt asked. Startled, the two Pegasi turned around. "There you two are," Breeze said. "What the hey took so long?" "Candyfloss instructed us to bring a passenger," Cloudcover said, stepping aside to reveal the filly behind him. "Hi, Mom!" Dinky chirped. Dizzy's jaw dropped at the sight of her daughter. "Dinky, but what?" she babbled incoherently. "Wait, Candyfloss sent you? Why?" Cloudcover shrugged. "You know how he is. Apparently Dinky's being in Canterlot tonight will help some pony with a relationship situation. We can only hope that it's this one, but Candyfloss doesn't know for sure." Dizzy frowned. "All right," she said finally, "but Dinky needs to stay back here where it's safe. We don't know what else Glow is planning to do." "So Cosmo is up to no good again?" Watt said. "We figured as much." "She's becoming quite a nuisance, actually," Breeze admitted, "and we can't stop her. She's completely hitting wherever she is, and the methods she's using to ruin the party, they just don't make any sense. No unicorn should be able to do stuff like that." "Hey," Watt said suddenly, "maybe Dinky can help us locate her." Cloudcover shook his head. "Dinky doesn't know anything about magic, remember?" A pang of dread stuck Ditzy, and Cloudcover's words reminded her of Ditzy's rejection from the academy, and by extension the looming debt. Dinky didn't know about these circumstances herself, but this was Ditzy's last chance of escaping from at least one of them. Was rapidly fading, as Luna's party was also. "Get your disguises on," Ditzy commanded to the two other shippers. "Maybe the four of us can still find Glow before it's too late." A shrill cry pierced the air. Some pony in the ballroom had screamed. "I think it might be too late." Glow watched in shock. Screwball had done herself this time. As Luna and her guests congregated around the table to cut the cake, the Chaos Pony had worked the magic once again. It was a simple prank this time. With a wave of her hoof, she had caused the multi-layered cake to fly into the air and drop right down onto the head of Twilight Sparkle. What impressed Glow about this was the extra touch Screwball had added. Before the cake was launched, Screwball had taken the time to surround it in an artificial midnight blue aura, so that it appeared to everyone in the ballroom that Luna herself had dropped the cake on her friend. Glow smiled devilishly. This was it. She was certain now. The battle was won. All of Twilight's friends looked at Luna in shock as the young unicorn struggled to shake it off. Luna, as utterly baffled as the rest of them, sputtered some incoherent phrases riddled with a mixture of confused and apologetic elements. Twilight, I'm sorry. It wasn't me. It looked like it was me, but it wasn't. It was a mistake. Somehow, really. Slowly, Twilight turned to look at Luna, attempting to brush a few more globs of icing out of her mane. Her eyes were full of disappointment. You know what, Princess Luna? She asked softly. I know that you were hoping that this party would help us all become better friends, and I know sometimes figuring out the ways of friendship is very hard. Believe me, I've been through it all myself. She sighed before continuing. But tonight we've just been sullied, scared, sickened, offended, injured, and generally humiliated. I don't know why. I don't know how much of this had to do with you, but there's simply too many accidents to pass this all off as a coincidence. Twilight looked at the floor sadly. So, Princess, if you don't mind, I think the six of us will just get going. We've all had enough of this for one night. We just want to go back to Ponyville. But I'm sorry, Princess, but we just can't. Just leave us be for today, okay? The unicorn turned to the equally frustrated friends. Come on, girls, let's go. Luna could only watch as the six ponies she'd hoped to impress and befriend made for the door. Some of them glared, the others just cast only sorrowful glances. But all of them looked thoroughly ready to get away from the Princess of the Night. Twilight was at the back of the group. As the others disappeared, she turned one more time at the princess. One word of advice, Princess Luna, she said softly. I still can't say for sure what happened here tonight. It might have all been your fault, and it might not have been. But if you'll pardon my honesty, Your Highness, if a series of cruel jokes is how you expected to successfully break the ice among the group of prospective friends, then you know even less about friendship than I did a year ago. Luna was silent. Twilight shook her head sadly and turned to follow her friends. With a groan of despair, Ditsy Doo sank to the floor, covering her face with her hooves. The other shippers looked sullen as well. It's over, she sobbed. Flo ruined everything. Dr. Candyfloss won't be pleased, Cloudcover said. This mission wasn't supposed to fail. Sympathetically, Dinky trotted over to the mare, slumped to the floor, and gave her mother a comforting nuzzle. It's okay, Mommy, she said. You and Mr. Breeze tried your best. It's not the end of the world if you fail an assignment, right? You told me you failed before. Ditsy wiped the tears from her eyes and looked at her daughter. The filly, always trying so hard to be helpful and supportive, Ditsy positively dreaded that idea of breaking her positive spirit with bad news. Dinky dear, listen me, I have to tell you something, she began quietly. Late last night, my old friend Raindrops came in with some news. The kitchen door flew open so forcefully that it was bad. The kitchen door flew open so forcefully that it very nearly took. I can't read the sentence. The kitchen doors flew open so forcefully they very nearly broke off the hinges. That sentence is just. Behind them stood a princess, shaking and seething with anger. Dinky yelped and hid behind the adults. You buffoons! Luna bellowed. This should have been a simple matter for you. Beyond simple, even. But no, you let some mischievous little prankster get away with a whole series of little disturbances. Twilight and her friends now want nothing to do with me. She glanced at the stallions behind Ditsy. I see your backup has arrived. Too late, and it's too little. Far too late. What kind of company are you, sending reinforcements hours after they're needed? The princess snorted indignantly at the lack of response. Out of my sight, all of you! Don't even think about asking for compensation for this fiasco. You're lucky I have not decided to issue a decree that to have your worthless company shut down right now. Luna turned and began to storm out. Wait! Surprised, Ditzy, Cloudcover, Watt, and Dinky all glanced at Breeze, who had spoken out despite the princess's verbal beatdown. Princess Luna turned around, gazing at Breeze curiously. Now hang on just a moment, Princess, Breeze said, trotting right up to Luna and looking her straight in the eye, not intimidated by her superior stature. We never guarantee success. We did what we could, and things didn't work out as planned. But you know what? There may be a way to fix things as of yet, if you'll listen to our advice. The other shippers' jaws dropped. Breeze was taking a chance, addressing the already angry princess in such a bold fashion. Luna, however, seemed more intrigued by Breeze's words than enraged by them. Explain yourself, Luna commanded. How could there possibly be a way to bring the night back from this disaster? It's actually simpler than you might think. The party was an elaborate attempt to show Twilight Sparkle and her friends that you appreciated them and wanted them to appreciate you. And it would have worked if not for the chaos that disrupted it. So now, it's time to turn away from the lavish decorations and massive celebrations. It's time to be sincere. Catch up with them before they leave the castle grounds, and apologize. Don't offer them anything more, just try to make up for them. Don't claim that it wasn't your fault. But it wasn't, Luna insisted. You know that, and we know that. But they aren't so sure. And there really isn't a way to prove it, Bree said. But Princess, something tells me they will understand. My partner Ditzy has worked with all of these ponies in the past. From what I've heard, they are very sensible and forgiving mares. And right now, the events that transpired tonight, combined with the way you reacted to them, has led those mares to believe that you are a thoughtless and overbearing pony. And there's no better way to get them to understand that you really are friendly and a caring pony than to offer a simple, sincere apology and express your wish to remain their friends. Luna blinked. And if it doesn't work? It's not like it won't do any additional harm, Bree said casually. And if it fails, then we've truly failed in our attempt to help you. But who knows? If you do this right, you might have just as powerful an effect as the party would have had it been successful. A little outright, unveiled sincerity could go a long way. Luna nodded. I see your point, my friend. I shall try your suggestion, and I hope you will try to hold off the pony who seems to intent on ruining my evening, if she's still around. The princess sighed. I must hurry and catch up with the others. Good luck to us all. And with that, she trotted swiftly from the room. All right, guys, Bree said, as soon as she had left. We have one last chance. We have to take care of Glow before she ruins the princess's apology. Let's split up and search for the grounds around for the entry pathway, Walt said. I'm glad I brought the walkie-talkies from HQ. They're a little dusty, since it's been a while since we've all had joint missions, but they should still work. Brilliant, Watt, Cloudcover declared, grabbing one of the handheld radios. If any pony finds her, report in with these immediately, we'll all come running. Ditzy stared at her walkie-talkie, not sure what to think. Breeze glanced in her direction and saw her uncertainly. Ditzy, he said quietly, don't worry, we can do this. I know we can. Ditzy couldn't help but smile at her friend's confident expression. A crackling, fizzling sound suddenly filled the room. The four shippers and the filly were startled, wheeling to look at the source. A sphere of magical energy coursed briefly through the room, and a blue unicorn materialized within it. Gah! Glow gasped in surprise when she found herself face to face with the others. You're all still here? Before any pony could speak, all four of Glow's co-workers came charging forward in an effort to subdue her. Breeze was the first to reach her, but when she was just inches away from tackling the villain, she collided with suddenly a reflective magical shield. The ponies stood helplessly on the other side of the translucent wall, scowling as Glow smirked at them. Well, Ditzy, Glow said, ignoring the others completely, it looks like he won't be catching up to me after all. What a shame. But to be fair, dear, I can't say I didn't warn you. Well, wouldn't it be clear to say that even if you failed and then um, Candy Floss knew that you had been sabotaging it, then wouldn't it make sense that on the next mission Ditzy would beat you anyway? I've told you 1,000 times, Glow. I don't care about passing your record, Ditzy screamed. But what you don't seem to be aware of is that this assignment is my only chance of avoiding a seriously terrible event in my personal life right now. I don't care what's going on, Glow said. You were given plenty of warning. You brought this on yourself. I'm in charge here, Ditzy. Now go back to being a 2-bit millionaire. Ditzy said nothing. She was just glaring at her longtime rival. The joke's on you, Cosmo, Watts said. Why would you? No, don't tell her the plan! Luna's going to fix everything. She's doing it right now, actually. Glow laughed. Oh, Watts, simple Watt. I'm completely aware of your little plan to have Luna apologize. My wonderful assistant is already poised to take care of the problem. Assistant? You're working with some pony? The best of the best. Discord's own little helper. Screwball. That explains all the bizarre pranks Ditzy gasped. You've been relying on chaos magic. Come on, we all need to go stop her, Bree said. What? Cloud cover, make sure Glow doesn't get away. No pony's going anywhere, Glow announced. With a flourish of magic, she lifted all 4 of her coworkers into the air, suspending them against their will. Let's see how much help you can be from the princess once I teleport you all back to Ponyville. You can't do that, that's impossible. Only Twilight can do that. The suspended ponies struggled, but could do nothing against Glow's power. Stop it! Every pony turned to the source of the voice. Little Dinky had jumped onto one of the counters and was glaring at Glow. The blue unicorn laughed once again. Run along and play, kid, she said passively. The grown-ups are busy now. Glow's magic intensified, preparing to transport her competition away. I said stop! On the word stop, a bright yellow shockwave erupted from Dinky's small horn. It wasn't felt by any pony as it passed, but it instantly negated Glow's spells. The 4 suspended ponies dropped to the floor, and the shield that shattered. Absolutely shocked, Ditzy stared wide-eyed at her daughter. Dinky, she gasped. I thought you didn't know any magic. I didn't use magic, the filly insisted, or at least I didn't try to. It just happened. Glow looked outraged. Oh, so that's how you want to play, you little brat, she hissed. You think you can out-magic me? What? Asked Dinky. That magic was on accident, I swear. Well then, Glow said with a smirk. The odds of that happening again are minimal at best. I don't need to worry about some filly's little magic tricks anyway. Glow's horn lit up again. It was easy enough for the adult unicorn to simply restore her magical defenses. I've got to do something, Dinky thought. Mom and the others have to help the princess. There must be something I can do to help fight this mean unicorn. Dinky concentrated hard, trying to figure out what force deep in the recess of her body she had called upon to produce the spell. It happened accidentally, but there had to be some way of doing it on purpose. I was totally focused on saving my mom and her friend, she realized. If I can focus my thoughts on my goal strongly enough, my unicorn magic can do the rest. Dinky slammed her eyes shut and concentrated with all her might on her mother and the danger she was in. She imagined the shattering glow spell once again. The filly didn't even have to open her eyes. The sound of the shattering shield and the suspended ponies falling again to the floor to tell her that she had once again been suspectful. Glow sneered. You little liar. I'll teach you to interrupt my magic. This time, Glow used her spell to hold Dinky in place instead. As much as the filly tried, she was firmly anchored to the ground. Hey, let me go! As expected, Ditzy's anger immediately flared. Glow, she said, her voice shaking. Let her go. I'm not a violent pony, but if you hurt her, I promise you I will rip you apart. Glow chuckled. It's so fun to watch you get all bent out of shape when your daughter enters the equation, she laughed. You know you can't do anything to me. I can just put my shield back up, even if this little squirt knocks it down. Glow smiled, and the Pegasus leering at her from the other side of the shield. She moved a step forward to look at her rival right in the face, but strangely her hooves wouldn't leave the ground. What? What is this? Now it was Dinky's turn to laugh, her own little horn glowing with an intense yellow aura. Pretty simple spell you're using there, Glow, she giggled. It only took me a couple of seconds to figure out how to copy and use it on you. Glow growled angrily, but was unable to break out of Dinky's enchantment. The 2 unicorns held each other still. Mom, said Dinky, and the rest of you too, please, you need to hurry and help Princess Luna. What? Ditzy gasped. I'm not leaving you in here with this traitor. It's under control, Dinky insisted. I may be really new to magic, but it turns out to be a little easier than I thought it would be. I can hold her, really. But I just can't leave her here. What if she... Mom! Dinky interrupted. You're running out of time. Just trust me. I'm not a baby anymore. I can help myself. But you need to go on your assignment. Please, let me handle this alone. Bruce put a hoof on Ditsy's shoulders. There's nothing we can help with anyway, she said quietly. Glow's powers make her untouchable as far as Pegasi is concerned. Besides, he continued in a whisper, Glow won't actually hurt any pony. It's not her style. She'd rather cause misery and pain. Ditsy bit her lip, but finally she nodded. Well, isn't hurting people pain? Your logic confuses me, Ryder. Dinky smiled, even though she couldn't turn her head for her mother to see. Thanks, Mom. Now get going. Despite Glow's enraged outcries, the four ponies raced from the kitchen on one final mission to stop Screwball from ruining Luna's last chance at redemption. A bizarre purple pony-like creature sat perched above the huge stone archway over the castle's front door, poorly attempting to mimic a gargoyle as she waited for her targets to appear. The 6 ponies from earlier appeared, trudging slowly down the long stone pathway leading from the edge of the castle grounds. None of them seemed to be in a big hurry. In fact, they all rather looked forlorn. Screwball briefly pondered this. It was certainly strange. After all, she'd been dishing out all dose after dose after dose of wonderfully fun chaos all night, but now those ponies should have been having the time of their lives. She chalked it up to it just being a bad day, and waited patiently for all the others' targets to appear. The 6 ponies had nearly reached the end of the long walkway when Princess Luna suddenly shot forth from the castle, taking to the air to catch up quickly with the others. She landed near them, and Screwball watched to turn around and face the princess. Wait, Twilight Sparkle. The rest of you, please, she said desperately. The group of ponies sighed collectively. Princess Luna, I already told you. We've had enough of this tonight. Just let us... I know you have, Luna said, cutting Twilight off. I'm not trying to get you to come back or anything. I just want to apologize. Some distance away, Screwball vanished. Not sure what the princess and her friends were up to, but whatever it was, certainly some chaos would spice it up. Screwball was so intent on her next bit of magic that she didn't even notice the 4 ponies dashing out from the front doors. Listen, every pony, Bree said. Keep in contact with their walkie-talkies. If you see any sign of chaos, counter it with any means necessary. If you find Screwball, subdue her with and contact the rest of us immediately. Got it? Roger, said Watt. Ditzy and Cloudcover just nodded. The 4 ponies split up and ran in different directions. Up above, Screwball prepared to unleash her next prank. A few large trees surrounded the pathway nearby where the group of ponies were standing. It would be funny once those trees hog-tied the ponies in with their roots. Screwball waved her hoof to animate the plants, while Luna, oblivious to the change, continued her apology. Apologize? Yes, said Luna, because I know all of you have suffered tonight. I know how much of the evening's events were my fault. But I don't feel like trying to convince you of anything will help us either. So I leave each of you to believe what you will. After all, the point is not what's happening this evening. It's how terrible I feel about it all. As Luna spoke, several dozen roots began to poke tentatively out of the ground, twisting as if they were observing their presence. Then they began to creep towards the ponies in the path, all of whom were unaware of their presence. Luckily, Breeze caught sight of the strange event from his aerial position. We've got trouble, he said in the walkie-talkies. The trees around the princesses and the others are up to no good. I'm on it, voice replied through the speaker. The rest of you guys keep looking for Screwball. The earth pony took off at a breakneck pace, dashing towards the dancing plant's tendrils more quickly than any earth pony should be capable of. He didn't slow down as he reached the site. He simply dashed right on through, moving so quickly that the roots he passed over were cleaved cleanly in half. The injured tendrils sank morosely back into the ground, and since Watt had handled the problem before it even took forth in the tree line, the pony on the path had no idea what was happening. From her perch on the grand archway, Screwball pouted. That mean old earth pony had killed her little roots. The chaos pony shrugged it off and decided to whip up an old favorite. Instead, this poured signature chocolate rain clouds. Licking her lips at the thought of the delicious and senseless weather pattern, she began to wave her hooves dramatically in the air, causing the fluffy pink clouds laden with chocolate to materialize and grow. The conversation continued unhindered on the pathway by the gates. "I understand that you are all upset," the princess said, "but that was never my intention, regardless of how many things have turned. I just wanted to become more friendly with you, Six. A large portion of my subjects still fear me. It's an unfortunate after effect of the Nightmare Moon incident. I just hope that the group of ponies that represent friendship itself would be able to understand that I no longer mean harm. But everything went wrong, and now I'm afraid that I've lost the trust of even the most forgiving ponies in the kingdom." Above cloud-covered caught sight of the armada of cotton candy clouds drifting lazily toward Luna. "Incoming inclement. I think that's what I'm gonna say. Inclement weather," he announced into his radio. "Leave this one to me." The Pegasus swooped in and quickly rounded up the clouds, forcing them toward the back of the grounds and away from the target. Twilight and her friends, who were quite used to seeing the Pegasi round out clouds, had no idea anything out of the ordinary was going on. Cloudcover pushed cloud after cloud back into the bundle he had created, but individual droplets of pink kept escaping, causing him to dart around constantly to keep the unruly clouds in check. "Cloudcover," Watt called from his radio. "They're cotton candy clouds. If you can't control them, just start eating them." Surprised at Watt's sound advice, Cloudcover began to chew just that. Now Screwball was getting really ticked off. Why didn't these ponies just want her to cause her beautiful chaos? It was time to cause an event so powerful, not even they could stop it. The purple chaos pony planted all four hooves firmly on the stone, and the tiny propeller on her beanie began to spin. Faster and faster it whirled, finally beginning to affect the air around it. A small whirlwind appeared over Screwball's head, rapidly escalating into a full-blown tornado. Ditzy caught sight of the growing threat this time, and by an extension finally located Screwball. "Ugh, guys," she mumbled, "we might have a big problem above the doorway." "I see it," Bree said. "Juan and Cloudcover are still managing the roots of the clouds. You and I will have to take this one. I'll stop the tornado, but you need to do something about Screwball." Breeze beat his wings powerfully and flew straight into the tornado, much to the surprise of Screwball, doing his best to fly against the powerful gusts. The strong Pegasus began to slow the flow of the tornado. "Stop!" Screwball whined indignantly as she watched, but the Pegasus didn't listen to her. She found as her raging whirlwind began little more than a few leaves and a bit of debris spinning in place. Screwball had observed another Pegasus approaching. This time it was a gray one, and it was coming right at her. To Dizzy's surprise, Screwball had made no motion of resistance, and sat quietly, simply watching as Dizzy alighted to the stone next to her. The chaotic creature didn't look hostile at all. She just looked kind of sad. Taking advantage of the momentary lapse in action, Dizzy glanced over to see how the princesses were doing. Luna waited silently as Twilight and her friends all exchanged glances. Finally, Twilight spoke up. "Princess, don't be so hard on yourself," she said with a small smile. "Every pony makes mistakes, and I don't think it's right for any of us to hold a grudge. I can tell you're sincere, so in the spirit of friendship, I think we can all call it water under the bridge, right, guys?" The other ponies smiled and nodded as well. "It wasn't very neighborly of us to be so accusing either," Applejack said. "I guess we were just wrong tonight." "It wasn't a total loss," Pinkie Pie pointed out. "After all, tonight might not have been so pleasant, but it was sure as sugar as a good icebreaker. I know I don't think of you as much a formal and aloof pony anymore." Luna smiled. "Perhaps you're right, Pinkie." She looked at each of her friends in turn. "So, have you forgiven me?" "Of course, Princess," Twilight said with a giggle. "But let's just meet somewhere more casually in Ponyville next." Luna returned the giggle. "I would like that, Twilight. I would like that very much." Still a better love story than Twilight. Ditsy breathed in a sigh of relief. At least that part of the night had gone well. Whether or not Luna was willing to give them some sort of reward, however, remained to be seen. Now, while her co-workers quelled the last of the chaos, Ditsy turned back at Screwball. You're not trying to hurt any pony, are you?" she asked tentatively. Screwball shook her head. "Just chaos," she insisted, as if there was nothing wrong with that. "Yes, I know you made that chaos, but not every pony wants the chaos to be there all the time. It's fun once in a while, but sometimes there needs to be a little order, too. I know it might be hard for you to understand." Screwball did indeed look confused. She just nodded. "So you'll stop causing trouble. I mean, stop making chaos, all right? We would all really appreciate it." Ditsy's co-workers flooded over, or in Watt's case, scrambled up on the sheer stone cliff wall to listen on to the encounter. Screwball glanced about curiously at Oliver. She pondered Ditsy's words for a second, and then nodded. But she looked disappointed that her fun had to end. Actually, Ditsy said, coming to the sudden realization, what about your friend Glow? I don't think she had her share of chaos yet. Screwball suddenly looked excited. After all, she had to reward the pony had given her all the chances to commit such mayhem in the first place. Ditsy turned to lead Screwball into the castle, but the Chaos Pony tapped her hoof on the shoulder with a hoof. The Pegasus turned around. What is it? Screwball grinned. I like your eyes, she giggled. Ditsy laughed, and her surrounding friends laughed with her. Thanks, she replied. You know what? I like yours too. Now come on, let's go give a certain blue unicorn what's coming to her. Whoa, it was a long chapter, and my nose is plugged up from reading so long, and my throat's gonna give up. But you know what, guys? I really love you guys for listening to my readings, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a terrific night / day / morning / weekend / evening. Adios, mon ami. Oh, that was terrible. I'm never doing that again. Bye bye, people. I love you. Bye. I love you. Bye. I love you. Bye bye. Love you. See you later. Bye. Love you. Bye.